Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Say what? Say what? Say what? One more time.
We kick things off with our signature segment, Say What, where we roll out a virtual assembly line of wacky, astonishing, damnable, and ultimately revealing things uttered by politicians and the chattering class. It would be natural for President Trump to be in something of a state of panic or at least emotional sobriety, given that the House of Representatives is trying to reverse the results of the last election and kick him out of office before the voters even have a chance to weigh in 1 year from now. And especially given how this impeachment inquiry is just the latest pretext for taking him down. He's been dealing with this since the morning after the 2016 election. But this is Trump, a man and a president not given to backing down or quieting himself in the face of attacks. He's been dealing with this unending vitriol from the left for 3 years. So when he showed up for a rally in Mississippi before Tuesday's gubernatorial election there, he laid into the Democrat presidential frontrunner, ridiculing him to the delight of another packed house.
In the delusional Democrat fantasy, I'm now supposed to be afraid of someone called 1% Joe. I used to call him 1% because he could never get 1% in the primaries. Then he got brought out by Obama out of the trash heap, became vice president. But we've now named him Very Slow Sleepy Joe. Very slow. He's gotten slower and slower. I'm afraid if he gets a nomination, he'll be so slow. We'll have the lowest rated debates in history.
Trump is likely bolstered by the fact that not a single Republican voted in favor of the current impeachment inquiry. Very different than the two impeachments in the 20th century, when every Democrat and all but 4 House Republicans voted for the impeachment inquiry into Richard Nixon, and every Republican and 31 Democrats voted for the inquiry into Clinton. But this time, all but 2 Democrats and 0 Republicans. And at that same rally, the Tennessee senator who's become one of Trump's biggest supporters, Rand Paul, said it's time for the entire Republican Party to fight this never-ending impeachment push.
President Trump has great courage. He faces down the fake media every day. But Congress needs to step up and have equal courage to defend the president. Hunter Biden made $50,000 a month. That's the definition of corruption. We know he got it only because of his family connections. We also now know the name of the whistleblower. The whistleblower needs to come before Congress as a material witness because he worked for Joe Biden at the same time Hunter Biden was getting money from corrupt oligarchs. I say tonight to the media, do your job and print his name.
Once again, we will see whether Biden will be attacked by his fellow Democrats during their next debate on November 20th. They need the issue to try and take Biden down, but they don't want to do anything that might accrue to Trump's benefit. What to do? Meanwhile, Adam Schiff and the other Democrats heading into the impeachment effort said they would bring the whistleblower forward, but then said it's not necessary. But everyone around Washington already knows who he is, and everyone else will as soon as the Democrats start their impeachment hearings in the next week or two. Project Veritas was on the warpath again this week. That group, which has made secret recordings of leftists, let go of a beauty this week. It was the co-anchor of ABC's Good Morning America, Amy Robach, saying she had all the dirt on the notorious pedophile, the recently deceased Jeffrey Epstein, especially one of his victims, Virginia Roberts, and Epstein's most prominent clients had that information long ago, but ABC officials killed the story.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. She had pictures, she had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
So this story still has legs, even after the reported suicide of Jeffrey Epstein weeks ago. You can bet that the powers that be at ABC in general, and Bill Clinton for one in particular, sure are glad that that particular dead man will be telling no tales. Finally, a reversal of fortune or change of heart or change of narrative regarding Trump and the newly minted world champion Washington Nationals. After being greeted rudely by the team's fans when he showed up for Game 5 of the World Series, Trump welcomed the team to the White House after they captured the trophy and received a most surprising, even shocking message from the Nationals captain.
He's a great guy, and he's a great, great player, and that's Ryan Zimmerman.
Mr. President, me and my teammates, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having us here. This is an incredible honor that I think all of us will never forget, and we'd also like to thank you for keeping everyone here safe in our country and continuing to make America the greatest country to live in the world.
That's right. Thank you, man. That's so nice, man. Thank you very much.
And then Zimmerman, the longest-serving member of the Nationals who joined the team in its first season after moving from Montreal 15 years ago, presented the president with a Nationals jersey with Trump and the number 45 on the back. But if you thought that was incredible in this political climate, Nationals catcher Kurt Suzuki wore a red MAGA hat and, of course, got flamed on social media. Now, in ordinary times, those remarks and giving the president a jersey and wearing a hat celebrating the president would be embraced or expected or ordinary. But in these times of woke culture, which we'll discuss with Jeff Charles a bit later in the show, what Suzuki, Zimmerman, and the Nationals did seems like an act of abject courage, or at the very least, a concerted attempt to win back the favor of a president who was booed wildly amid cries of "lock him up" by Nationals fans during the World Series. So maybe the Nationals feel like it's not a bad idea to be on the good side of the leader of the free world living just across town.